Here we go. All right, everybody. We'll give it just a minute to get started. But thanks again for watching another night of the Reel Down on Paddle and Fin. How you doing, Jimmy?
What's up? It actually told me we went live that time, so the timing was perfect.
All right. How's your shoulder doing, by the way? So better?
Good enough. I'm gonna go fishing Saturday, hopefully. Right arm got better because I fell on it, and then woke up. The left arm was completely whacked. Had to put it in a sling for a couple of days, but I think I'm good now. So,
all right.
If I'm not, I don't care. I'm gonna go.
Oh, we already got
Oh, look at Brian getting cheesy over there.
Yeah. A bunch of people already saying stuff. Getting real. All right. And Shane Fernandez.
We love you.
Hey, how you doing? We'll give it another couple seconds here.
Appreciate everybody checking us out. Like it up and share.
Yeah, absolutely. We have, and tonight we're going to be talking about Canadian fishing, and I think that's a first for Paddle and Fin. Maybe
I'm
not.
I'm going to do my best not to bring out any Canadian accents.
Yeah, don't do that. So no blame Canada, no anything, anything like that. But yeah, we're going to have a great night. Talk about something different because we talk about everything from California to Florida. In the last few weeks, we've had people cross, New York, across the country, but we never go above the border. So we're doing something different tonight. So we're very excited about that. And if you have any questions about fishing in Canada, anything, any questions for these guys tonight, because I know I have a lot, please feel free to ask them on the in the chat right there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I will bring on Mr. John Dean, Paul Winkle, and Mr. Nelson Bruns. Hope I'm saying that right. Is that right, Nelson?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, cool.
Nope, he got one right, 10 points.
Yeah, I'll mess a bunch up later. John Dean, he's the founder of the Ontario Kayak Bass Trail, and Paul Winkle and Nelson they're the people who Paul got first and Nelson got second in their first event of the year on Sturgeon Lake up in Ontario. So welcome to the show, guys.
How you doing, guys? Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
thanks for being here.
Thanks for the invite, guys.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all doing that on such short notice. So so I guess we'll get started. So we'll go clockwise here. John, just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into kayak fishing.
I've been fishing all my life. I've done everything from the bass boats to canoes to shore fishing to river fishing, and just sort of found an alternative about, I guess it's got to be 7 years ago now, with the kayak. Believe it or not, saw Chad Hoover of KBF on TV, with his program, and thought, hey, that looks awesome, and spent the next little while watching and researching and picked up a kayak, and the rest was history. Kind of enjoyed it and looked for the next steps. And being from the boat world, I was always into the competitive end of it. Started looking around for tournaments, and we had a very small tournament organizer that had 1 or 2 events a year, but nothing really much. Ran into a few other guys that did events, and found out that we were traveling down to the States a lot: New York, Michigan, Ohio. The odd time, a couple times we were down in Tennessee for the nationals and stuff like that, and started thinking, like, why are we doing this when we have the water up here? Let's start our own. So we just compiled what we liked, what we disliked, and put together the series that we thought would best suit our needs up here. And the OKBT was born 3 years ago. It's our 3rd season now.
That's awesome.
And what do you do whenever you're not fishing?
Work on the OKBT. No, I'm a engineer. Work in manufacturing industry. We do a lot of work for the automotive sector. So
cool. Well, welcome to the show, Paul. Tell us about yourself, man.
I guess I own a dairy farm, so I'm a dairy farmer.
Okay.
And I used to sell farm equipment. When we moved home to the farm, took it over, my wife said to me, first of all, I was probably, you fish on the weekends, from the shore, things like that. Not a big deal. I wasn't really big into it. one day my wife said to me, she says, "You need a hobby because you're getting pretty grumpy." So anyhow, did some research and decided, hey, let's try this kayak, fishing thing. I got lots of local rivers, things like that. So she bought me my first kayak for my birthday, and that started from there. So I started out in a sit-in kayak, a Pungo 120, believe it or not, and just basically morphed from there. So I think that was back in about probably about 2004, 2005. So I kayak fished by myself for probably about 2-3 years. Met another guy online through local website called yakfisher.ca, and he was a local guy, so we met up, did that, and basically got to meet other guys with that. Upgraded my kayak to sit on top, and kind of went from there. Started tournament fishing. I guess Ontario had their first tournament in 2009, and started there. I had basically a wilderness tarpon 160 then.
160.
Fish
Wow.
for a 160,
Big one,
yeah.
yeah.
So it was a rocket, man. Because I'm only about an hour from Lake Huron, so it's a great boat for big water. So so after that, I guess kind of moved up there. Went and bought a Hobie Quest for the rivers because I needed something smaller. And at that point in time, I struck up a pretty good relationship with the local Hobie dealer, and was asked to be on the Hobie fishing team. So
There you go.
I think I started that in about 2000. Yeah, I think that was about 2011. So, and I've been on the team since then. So.
That's
So
awesome.
I've had numerous PAs, Hobie Revos, things like that, and just basically my collection of fishing gear has amassed to basically out of control.
We all have
So
that problem.
I think that's
Yeah.
with everybody. So
So does your
fish
wife
the,
regret telling you that you need a hobby?
what was that again?
Does your wife regret telling you needed a hobby?
Yep, I'm cutting out, man. I'm sorry.
Oh no, not at all. She thinks this is great because I can go out and all my fishing buddies, they're not farmers or anything like that. So there's no shop talk, there's no nothing. So I can go out, blow off some steam, come back, everything's good. So
That's awesome.
Cool.
but yeah. So and helping John with the OKBT, and just going from there. So
Cool.
that's my story.
Nelson, you're in a Hobie PA 362, right?
Yes, that's right.
So tell us about yourself, man.
Well, my story is kind of different than most people. I haven't been fishing all my life. I'm pretty new to fishing. Been at it for 5 years. Growing up, my parents were never outdoorsy, like fishing and camping kind of thing. 5 years ago, a buddy called me up and was like, "Hey, man, want to go fishing?" And I told him, "Is it even fun, man? Like what do you do?" And we were catching rock bass and bluegill, and then I had the time of my life, and then I just obsessed over it and started looking up videos, reading magazines, buying fishing gear, and then I fished from shore for 2 years, and then I bought my first kayak that was an Old Town Predator MX, and I used that for 2 years. And this year I upgraded to the Hobie PA 12 360.
How are you liking it so far?
I love it. It's like best purchase I ever did.
I
So good.
haven't heard a single person have any issue with it. Like, everybody's stoked to have it.
Amazing.
And how about you, John? What kind of boat you in?
I started off in a Ride 135. I fished one day in that, and I bought while I was on the lake that day, and went up and picked that up. And I did that for a year and a half, and I've been in the PA 14 for the last 5 years, Paul. 4 or 5 years. 5 years, I think.
Yeah, I think something like that. Yeah.
All Hobie guys. All right.
I was gonna say, got a bunch of Hobie in the house.
Yeah,
Very
we
substitute.
should ask that first before we invite you on. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, great podcast. Thanks for having you on, guys. See you later.
Nah, that's kidding. That's cool. All right, well,
Oh.
that brings up a question. Y'all all have Hobies. They're quick. Does your trail allow motors?
No, it does not.
Oh, okay.
I like it a little more OG, a
Yeah, I like.
little more root style. So
Yeah,
I want to know.
Here in
Noe,
Alabama, they don't allow motors, and in the States, it's kind of 50-50.
next year we'll have a series with motors.
It's true.
Yeah, we've talked about it, and Paul and I have seen the larger events with motors on it, such as the KBF Nationals and whatnot, and the guys running the Torqeedos. And I'm sort of up in the air whether it truly is an advantage or not. It comes down to, the same when people say pedal over paddle. Is it an advantage? Well, is a motor that much more of an advantage? You can travel areas quicker, but I don't think it helps you out once you're actually there fishing. It's like you said, it's a commuter device, right? Point A to point B. So I'm sort of torn on it. You still got to catch the fish.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, if you paddle or you got a motor, as far as I'm concerned. So.
Some people, I mean, you see it all the time. Guys will still win these big tournaments paddling.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter because they may be going to somewhere that you could never get that motor anyway. So
exactly.
it doesn't matter. It's just all how you feel.
They had a big Hobie event on Kentucky Lake a couple of weeks ago, in second, third place for paddling. So I mean, it's
Yeah.
So I think everybody paddles in Hobie, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
When you
But
have
so I want to know. So we did this a few weeks ago. We had some guys on from Colorado, kind of the same situation. Not a lot of people think about bass fishing when they're in Colorado because you got all these other species and opportunities and hunting and things of that nature. Same thing when he sent me the Tourney X page for this. I was like, never would have thought about bass fishing in Canada. So whoever wants to take it, kind of explain the fisheries. I mean, we know y'all come down to the States and fish, but tell us about the local waters up there, what kind of fisheries you have and how that is.
Let me jump in here for a second, guys. You can add in, but you've probably heard of some of the best smallmouth waters around: Lake St. Clair, St. Lawrence River,
Yep.
Lake Ontario, Lake Erie. They're all bordered in us in Ontario.
That's right.
I'll be right back, guys. I got audio problems here.
Here, leave the room and then come back.
If you do any research, a lot of Americans are coming up in our vacation territory of the Kawartha Lakes. Walleye, big for muskie. Bass is huge. Now, bass isn't throughout Canada. It's fairly localized to a couple of the eastern provinces, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and also Ontario, Quebec, and a little bit out in BC. There's provinces without them, but it's also more towards the southern part of the borderlands per se. But our bass fishing here is fantastic. We have big fish. It's very similar to what you would see if you were fishing New York and Oneida or any of the Finger Lakes up in or in Vermont or Maine. It's that type of fishery. Smallmouth like in Michigan, Minnesota. We're all along the same latitude, right? So it's all pretty similar water. A lot of natural lakes. We don't have the reservoirs like you have down in the States. So
Okay.
It's pretty much all natural water.
So I'm assuming that you don't see a lot of, like how you were saying, it's mostly eastern and southern areas of your provinces. Is it basically because of like water temperature and being that much closer to
It has to do with a lot of water temperature, but also growing season.
Gotcha.
You remember, you start to get down to where you are, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and you get a 5-pound bass down there, 5-pound largemouth. It's probably only maybe 3.5 years old.
All right.
5-pound bass up here is probably pushing close to 20 years old.
Wow.
Just because of the growing season.
That's insane.
And how long is your fishing season? I know this is your first tournament of the year. Is it kind of that June to September?
For bass, there's different regulated seasons for each species, but for bass, we start 1 week earlier in our zone where I am, and it's the third or fourth week of June, and it typically ends anywhere between the November 30th and December 15th throughout. Okay. So we put in about 5 months, 5.5 months of open season.
Okay.
So right now, is this for y'all like pre-spawn kind of timing, or is
They're post spawn now.
Is it-
okay? So I didn't really know if
Yeah.
y'all are that much later than like the rest of our country and stuff like that.
Water temperatures on the weekend we're sitting at about 76, 77.
Okay.
I was seeing. So,
Okay. Awesome.
Cool. Well, here I'll go over the numbers for the tournament, and it was on Sturgeon Lake, and it had 76 anglers. So I know a lot of people aren't even, a lot of people don't think about Canada as being big tournament area. 76 anglers. I mean, that's a legit number, and that puts you in the top 10% for all the clubs in the state. So I mean, I know y'all might not get all the recognition you deserve, but 76 that's an amazing number.
I guarantee if those numbers stay up like that, that recognition will be there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It took me a little by surprise this week. Like, we've been growing over the last couple of years, and with the climate that's been going on, worldwide, let alone with the U.S. and Canada, with going on with COVID-19 and that,
Yeah.
it was one of those situations like we didn't even know where we were going to be come tournament time. And, to see the response and the support from, our angler group from years past and the new people that joined up was just amazing. I was literally taken back on Friday when I was going through the numbers.
Yeah, that's
Great.
incredible.
And so y'all had a $70 entry fee. Is that normal? Because that for us, maybe we're just a little poor in Alabama, but is that normal? I mean, that seems a little high. Is that what a normal is?
That's what our regular event rate is.
Cool.
That includes your big bass. It includes everything.
It's a 100% payout, right?
100 after expenses, 100%. Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
You got your regular Tourney X fees and whatnot.
PayPal and stuff like that. Yeah.
And we have a judge that we hired last year, and she's back again this year, and we pay her to judge for her time, and so we take it off the top, and then whatever's left goes to the anglers.
So Paul and Nelson, that had to have been a pretty good payday, huh?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
How much did you get?
Well, I was lucky enough to get a big bass at the tournament and second place.
Sorry, guys, I'm having audio trouble here. I think I'm going to try my phone somewhere else.
Okay, if you leave the room and then come back, sometimes that'll help. Like kick yourself out and then follow the link to join back in.
Well, what was your big bass?
Okay, yeah, I'll try to join back in. So
There we go.
So the big bass was a smallmouth, 20 inches and a half.
Ooh.
And
There you go.
that and the second prize took home $1,300,
Wow.
which was nice.
That's a nice
good
check.
And you get that trophy is awesome too.
Yeah, it's pretty
Oh, I
cool.
didn't even notice it. No, that's sick.
Yeah, good job, John. I mean, that's legit.
Yeah.
So Paul had 84 1/4. Nelson, you had 83 3/4.
Those.
Wow, for AOY.
That's my next one.
Dang. And Mike Hockey with 83 1/2. So congrats to all three of y'all. That's a dang good payday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good day. Like I said, the number showed it, and hey, the guys got paid for their effort for sure.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. We have a lot to learn tonight. With the
Well, while we're waiting on Paul to come back in, Nelson, why don't you take us through your day? Tell me about, from first to final cast. I want to know how it went for you. Was it tough?
Yeah, it was I want to say it was a little stressful at first. Trying to decide where to launch was probably the hardest part. Not being familiar with Sturgeon Lake, I've only been there a couple times for muskie fishing, and I can't really say it's been that good to me. So I knew I didn't want to go to my muskie spot because it has a lot of like stumps and weed shallow, and I thought to win this tournament you probably need smallmouth. So my mind was smallmouth. So I had Navionics and Google Maps side by side on my computer, trying to see what's the best spot that might work out for to catch smallmouth, right? Then from what I seen in the when the season starts, usually smallmouth are shallow, like around the 8 foot mark. So I said to myself, if I get there and I notice that the smallies are still shallow, then it's game on, right? And yeah, I was lucky enough that when I got there, 45 minutes into fishing, I got a muskie and he broke me off, which kind of made me angry because I was like,
bet.
all right, now I got to retie, get a new lure. And shortly after that, I was just throwing a search bait, like just a paddle tail swim bait, when I noticed a big bass come up behind it and just nipped at it. And then he swam off. And then I'm like, okay, I need to get this guy. So I just grabbed my Ned Rid rod and just cast it over, and then I got her. And that was the first fish of the day, which was the biggest one.
That sounds
was
like
the-
minimal effort. That's luck right there, man.
Yeah.
That's the kind of bites you hope you have like all day. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I'll catch him, and I'll catch him, but it never works that way.
So you'd
Yeah.
rather be lucky than good, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a question on that on sturgeon. Do the smallmouth outnumber and outsize the largemouth? I guess so, from what you're saying, right?
It's a very good smallmouth lake for sure, but it's also a very good largemouth lake. It's almost split down the middle between the largemouth and the smallmouth territory. The bottom end is very shallow, stumpy, weedy, swampy, and where the north end it breaks into more deeper, clear, rocky water. I can't tell you which one outnumbers the other, or which one outweighs the other, but I know there's 6 pound plus smallmouth and 6 pound plus largemouth in there. So.
Talking my kind of numbers.
And your trail, Ontario is obviously a huge place. Your trail, it covers a pretty good distance, right?
It does. We try to, like you said, like we're a large area, and with kayak fishing, taking ground up here, we're a few years behind, the growth in the U.S. and we're trying to bring people in from all areas of the province if we can, and it's working out that way. And in order to do that, we kind of try to spread it out a little bit. Now, the majority of the anglers, are in the metropolis areas, Toronto and GTA and whatnot. So if we try to keep it central Ontario, we get the numbers, but we also do out west, like on Lake St. Clair and Lake Erie. We will go up north, the top end of Simcoe's and Couchiching, and hopefully up to Georgian Bay area. And so, we do spread out. So,
all right, Nelson. So how'd the rest of the day go for you? And what'd you catch them on, man?
Well, my first 5 fish were all on a Ned rig.
Old
And
man.
then all Ned. And then when I got to the end of a point where I said, what do I do next? I remember seeing a couple of islands, and I said, I'm going to go fish the islands. And then I said, you know what? These islands are getting hammered by boaters and other kayakers. I'm just going to go try and get some fish that I lost earlier on the day. So I pedaled my way back to where I lost those fish, and then I was lucky enough to get 2 upgrades of a 17.5 on, again, a paddle tail, just casting it to where all the rocks are, and then in around 6 feet of water. And then, again, I got lucky, I guess, right?
Hey, it happens, man.
Yeah.
That's the right day to get lucky.
Definitely.
All right, Paul, how about you, man? How'd your day on sturgeon go?
you there,
I'm not
Paul?
sh-
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just, you guys are just fading in and out. Sorry.
Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
It might be easier if you go into your settings and stop the camera and just do audio.
Yeah, we'll still be able to hear you.
Okay.
That'll be enough.
All right.
Well, Nelson, what's your go-to setup on your Ned rig? Rod, reel, line, what you got?
So I got a 7-foot medium light Shimano Zodius.
Ooh.
And for the reel, I got a Shimano CI4.
Oh, big one.
Yeah, 2500. And I put a 15-pound braid, and then I run a 10-pound fluorocarbon leader on that.
There you go.
I'm the same way. I like the the 2500 size reel. I know some people, the pros and all that, they use the bigger ones. I like 2500s,
I
especially.
don't ever go over that unless I'm going salt.
You got to remember up here too is our water for the most part is clear, and I know y'all when you say you got some of the water down there is clear, you're talking a few feet visibility, but when we're talking clear up here, like on the weekend, I was seeing bottom in 10 feet.
Yeah,
and that's pretty common in a lot of the lakes.
Yeah.
So a lot of guys are running some pretty light stuff when they're running the finesse gear up here too. So
I bet you a 20-inch smallie on a medium light rod is an insane fight.
Yeah, I got it on video. I'm gonna upload that video later on.
yeah.
need to
check
that
Nelson
out.
has a YouTube video.
Yeah, I got
His
a
YouTube channel. Yeah, we'll have to
We'll
get
let you plug that at the end so you can spike them followers up.
Yeah,
20-inch
for sure.
smallie on medium light action.
No, it was an awesome fight. Like I was just praying, like don't come off, and he was just peeling drag. It's a lot of fun.
That's the most addicting sound in the world.
Yeah.
All right, Paul, how about you? Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can you hear me now?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. You sound
Yeah,
good.
okay. I guess my days didn't start out real well. I caught my first 4 fish were under 12 inches, so not measurable. End up I basically beeline to an island. I tried to pick a spot where if the smallie bite didn't basically come about, I could go find some largemouth and fill my card then. So, but worked an island for a bit. Got 4 non-measurable bass. Decided to head to a second island, and in between these 2 islands are a bunch of shoals, and I end up hooking a 14.75. Got it on the board, was ready to take a picture, and I don't know what's about these Kawartha Lake bass or and Sturgeon Lake bass, but they spazzed right out and gone. So basically, that was gone. So, early in the day, so let's go. Basically, I didn't get my first fish till about 10 o'clock, so that was 2 hours in. Got 14.25, got it on the board, and then I ended up getting a 16.25 and a 16.75, and these are all on a jerk bait. I was getting them on.
Okay.
So by 12 o'clock, I only had 3 fish on the board, more or less. So getting pretty disappointed with myself, was ready to basically uproot and move areas to find something different. And I had my rod in the rod holder. I was starting to pedal, and I basically stopped and said, wait a minute, there's fish here. Turn around and just work the area. And fished a bit more and ended up hooking a 17.5 smallie on a jerk bait. And then about 15 minutes later, and I do have a Humminbird 360 sonar rigged up to my kayak.
Oh, at 360
so while I was
too, huh?
I noticed a rock pile about 70 feet off, and pulled out my Ned rig setup, casted to the rocks there, pulled in an 18 3/4.
Ned.
The Ned rig.
So
Nedley.
on a Ned rig.
Yeah, if
John-
you don't,
John-
if
John
you've
will
never
hit this.
thrown a Ned, I swear. Like I hear people say sometimes, I've never caught one on a Ned or what. You, Jimmy, come on now.
Dude, I will
You
not.
know, John?
I will
Oh,
not throw.
man.
Hey, me and you, John. I will not throw a Ned rig.
Y'all are crazy. That
Hey,
Ned will catch the heck
If
out
it,
of
if,
them.
it, if it catches fish, guys, it's worth its weight in gold, basically.
Yeah.
No, I want to
So-
stop. I want to stop you right there because we were talking just a second ago about how y'all aren't catching the clout, and it's not as up there as it is in the States. I don't know too many folks down here running a 360 system on their kayak, so that's like I'd let that fly right over my head at fird until
Paul's
Dan said that, and I was like, "Wait a minute, like time out." What?
So
I'd like to see that setup. Like I saw Hoover do it the other day with the Lawrence kind of deal, but I Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anybody with them with one on like in
Nelson,
person.
you running electronics?
Yeah, I have a Lowrance Elite TI7,
Okay.
TI27.
Well, this man's got the setup. These guys,
Yeah,
they got it going.
big money.
Well, like I'm running a Helix 10 with the Humminbird 360.
TV screen. That's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Man likes his
and-
electronics.
And there's actually a local company up here, Gregor Tech Marine, that has teamed up with Humminbird to make mounts for the old Humminbird 360s and for the Mega 360s also. That you can just basically bolt down to a seat of a boat or the rail of a kayak or whatever.
Dude, that's awesome.
Okay. And David Otto asks, what colors y'all throwing on Ned rig?
Mine I got on it was kind of like a purple, copper, gold, Gobi type color.
Nelson?
Yeah, I pretty much do the same, like a Gobi color or old school green pumpkin. Never fails.
I'm like
See,
that.
at first, I felt like if I came up there and fished, like I wouldn't know where to start. But for the most part, I feel like I could just come up there and do the same thing, and it'd probably work.
Pretty much.
Yep.
That's
Well,
awesome.
Jimmy's lucky. He has a bunch of smallmouth on Tennessee River where he lives. We don't.
Just look for electric to meet, because then you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, but my colors are the green pumpkin orange, like in early pre-spawn, and then the deal and black and blue. I just depend on water color clarity. That's what I do. But we don't have gobies either, so yeah. All right, so you gotta give us some juice here, Paul. What do you want to talk about? Your jerkbait setup?
Okay. Yeah. Well, jerkbait's my weak point. And John and Nelson will laugh, but I'm a Megabass Vision 110 junkie.
Yeah.
Me too.
I probably own 80 jerkbaits.
This
Wow.
man has a retirement fund set up in
How
jerkbait.
big is this dairy farm? Is this like a mega farm or
Right.
something?
Oh no, we're just a small farm, but no, that's my nemesis, and I basically throw it on a Megabass XX Orochi jerkbait special, 10-pound Sunline on a Steez 6.3.
Dang, triple.
I just gotta throw this corny joke out there, man. The milk money is paying the bill.
This
The milk money does pay the bill. Hey, I don't have any kids, so I'm spending their college fund.
okay, that explains. Never mind. I take it back. There it is.
I'm a huge fan of jerkbaits too, but I don't have 80. Megabass jerkbaits, maybe 23. And then
I have-
different brands, I got like maybe another 20, maybe.
I have two. I've thrown one of them, and I just like to look at the other one. I
It's
had
a
a
good
very
lure.
close encounter with losing that one, and I'm not doing that again. So
And Alex asked, what was the name of that company that produces the Humminbird mounts?
Geiger.
It's called Gregor Tech Marine.
There you go.
Geiger.
Like Geiger counter. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Geiger Tech. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
awesome.
Yeah. Well, dang. That's
Well,
You
back to the
know-
land of giant jerk baits and
now all the
everything.
money you win. You have enough money to buy one more setup and like 10 more Vision 110s.
You haven't seen the rest of my stuff.
Well, I can imagine.
I
I don't know if you could.
don't have
Yeah, maybe
80 of
not.
any one thing.
80 Vision 110s at
Like the closest thing I have to that is I've got like 40 of one size and tungsten weight, but woo,
I'm
like,
pretty sure the distributor calls Paul when they're out of stock on a certain
no kidding.
buy 'em back.
I'm
So,
surprised Megabass. Hey, shout out if anybody from Megabass is watching, help this guy out. He's
Are you
already got
talking
literally
about
everything you make. Help him get some money back.
It's just a weakness. It's me and Daiwa reels. That's my other weakness.
Yeah.
Those are good reels. I've went through my
Yeah.
fair share of those.
But yeah, that's my weakness.
hell, I throw a Ned rig on a bait caster. So
Oh, do you? Like
Yep.
what size line are you using?
8 pound Sun line. I got a GLX 802 G Loomis,
Yeah.
and use a TD Ito reel.
Dude, these
wow.
guys in Canada are going hard on the expensive gear.
Yeah.
Like, I'm assuming Nelson is like, are you like Shimano exclusively?
No, I like the Japanese brands, Daiwa, Megabass, Shimano. I mix it up a little bit.
The expensive stuff. Yeah.
If it ain't about 300, I don't want it.
No, it's not like that. 275.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
All right. So, John, tell us what's your trail have in store for the rest of the year? Since that was just your first tournament.
That was our first live event. Yeah, we hold 4 live events and 4 online events. So next July 18th, we go up to Lake Couchiching, which is just north of Toronto, a couple hours. Big smallmouth water, lots of largemouth too, but typically known for large smallmouth up there. Then we travel down to the northwestern shore of Lake Erie to Rondo Bay.
Yeah, I saw that.
Never been there. Heard lots of good things about it. Supposed to be some big largemouth in that water. We're opening up the lake as well. So whether the guys find the smallies out in the big water, we don't know. So we'll see what that brings. And then we finish off the year about 2.5 hours north of Toronto in Haliburton on a five lake chain of Cashega, Wigmog, Head Lake, Grass Lake, Canning, and Sawyer. Mixed bag up there of largemouth and smallmouth again. And then we do one month-long online for July, which is your 5 best bass. And then in August, we do another month-long, the Swamp Donkey Challenge. It's 5 largemouth only. And September, we do a full house, so 3 of one, 2 of the other. Any mix if you want. 3 is small, 3 and 2 large, or vice versa. And then October, your 5 best. Get those big feeding smallmouth coming out in the fall and see what we can put up. I think last year the winner of that was, if I'm not mistaken, a little over 105 inches of smallmouth.
Wow.
Yeah, it was 105. Yeah.
105, I think that's what he had. Yeah.
All knows because it was probably him, right?
My heart cannot handle that, man. I'd stroke out.
Yeah. So we have like I said, we have a very truncated season, but we try to fit in there, one a month and plus the onlines and, give the guys something to look forward to in the weeks in between the live events anyway. So,
And do y'all do Angler of the Year standings and stuff like that?
We do on the 4 live events, and it's the best 3 of the 4.
Okay. So that's how we do it down here.
Yeah. Right now, Paul's leading. So.
But Nelson is
probably
going
not
to
for
change that.
long.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Just
And
positive attitude, man.
Is there anything y'all do, like like Jimmy with North Alabama Kayak Anglers, whenever it's not in season, they might do a throwdown type deal where it's like somebody's go fish. Do y'all have like some off season type stuff where you'll do like ice fishing or something?
Chicken wings, hockey, and beer.
There you go.
I knew that we had to hit hockey and beer at some point. And it makes me feel so good.
Yeah.
So we are complete now.
Who's the team? I guess it's a Maple Leafs, huh?
There you go. No comments, please. Thank you. If I was alive the last time they won the cup.
Closest thing I got down here, I got the Preds down here, so go Preds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blackhawks.
But off season, ice fishing is big with a lot of the guys. Not me anymore. I just don't have the ambition to go out there and sit in the cold anymore and do it.
I was fixing to say you're just over being cold, huh?
We were thinking about doing a couple of coffee can events early this spring for pike and that when it opened up, but again with the climate and everything that was going on, it just wasn't to be. So it was put on the back burner, but who knows what'll happen next year. So.
Oh Lord, we got a Caps fan.
Just get out of here, Brian.
There's always one.
Yeah.
All right, so
awesome, man. I know a lot about I legit am ready to, like, I have another reason to make a trip to Canada now. My wife will hate that because she would want to go for like a vacation, and now I just want to go up there and catch smallmouth. So,
Catch
Any-
smallmouth and better
Nope.
chicken wings than the USA. Just saying.
ooh,
Just saying.
shots fired. I'm gonna get some comments about that later.
No, I've traveled around the U.S. a lot. I haven't had better chicken wings than some places around here. Just saying.
I'm gonna put that on the list. I would have never even. That's not even something I was thinking about. I make it up there. I'm gonna put that to the test.
Send me a message when you come up here.
Oh, dude, definitely. I'm gonna be hitting one of y'all up for a place to stay. Like, what are you talking about?
We didn't have people on from Canada just for the fun of it. We're planning out vacations with the people we have on the show. That's
This whole show is about making connections for friends and all this, but I'm also like, hey, you come here, you can stay here. I'll come there, I'll stay with you. We'll share fishing spots, and we'll just make a whole year out of it.
Sure, you're welcome to it.
Never open the border.
Jimmy does live close to Gunnersville. You might want to take him up on that if you're coming down for the NC.
Hey, if y'all want to come down here for some frog fishing, I can hook you up. I promise the frog fishing in the South.
Have frog will travel.
There you go.
I'm down with that.
Oh man,
I like to travel in the winter and go fishing.
Yeah.
So I might have to hit you up.
I've got a few spots that hold out through the winter. They water temperature actually doesn't change as much as the rest of the water around here. In a couple of spots, I definitely got some winter spots that would hold on to some big ones. You ever do any like heavy punching and stuff?
Yep.
That's usually the ticket down here, and when it's cold for me.
I'm more of a largemouth guy than a smallmouth guy.
Yeah.
Up here, you don't really have a choice. You learn to fish both, but
Right.
preference day in and day out, I'd rather fish for the green bass. Flipping a jig or a big heavy punch rig or a frog and spinner bait, and I'm happy. So,
I like looking for the big old large heads and stuff, but I
Yeah.
love getting back in some skinny water and finding. So I won't have the weight to your. Oh yeah, that's a good jig. We won't have the weight in the smallmouth I'm catching, but I'll catch like a 19-inch creek smallie that fights like a 5 or 6 pounder because it's been in the current its whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
there's the river smallies are they're not fat, they're long, but they
Oh,
are
yeah.
strong as hell.
Yes, sir.
we're on a treadmill all day, right?
Basically,
Yep, absolutely,
We're
absolutely.
just working out in that current, and they're just beasts.
and then I just come along and throw the stick at them and knock them down and put them in the boat.
Well, here, John, we didn't ask you what's your favorite technique? Something you can kind of tell everybody about.
Well, I'm a spinnerbait guy. I love spinnerbaits. I always have. Even when they sort of went out of favor for a lot of years, I was always throwing a spinnerbait. But between that and a frog, and flipping a jigger or a punch rig,
Yeah.
those four make me happy when I'm on the water. Like I can go out and throw a frog all day, and just be down with that. So
Top water,
Yeah.
huge win.
Yeah.
It's awesome, man. I'm excited. Like, I don't know why I'm so excited about this. Not like I'm going to load up like tonight, but I could definitely make a few plans changed at the end of this year.
I'd love to do that whole trip where it's like St. Clair, La Crosse, UP, and just kind of go over and then come back around through Toronto. That'd be a great trip.
Me and my wife talked about doing we were going to drive from here all the way up and touch the Arctic Ocean. I can't remember where in Alaska, and then take a different route back. I could always swing a little further east and do some fishing.
That's a pretty far east.
Yeah, that'd be a long trip. Dang.
Hey, I could say I covered a lot of Canada when I finally get back to Alaska.
that's right.
There's
We have the Trans-Canadian train. That'd be cool too, right? Like I had looked at that before, like doing a trip where it was, somewhere like Toronto, Quebec City, but I know it goes all the way, cross country.
Mhm.
That'd be cool. All right. Well, anytime we have somebody on the show, we always want to give you a chance to shout out anybody that you want to of, somebody that makes it easier, makes your fishing easier, and how can everybody find you online? We'll start with you, John, since you're the the founder of the club here.
Well, first I want to say, big shout out to all the anglers, especially for this weekend, for supporting us. Like I said, coming off the year that every one of us have had so far. They really turned things around, and I think it was good for them to get out too. Everybody needed a break from reality for a change and go out and do that. And secondly, all of the sponsors that we have in our group, as you can see on the banner there, we have Old Town, Fogue Marine, Malone Trailers, Power Pole, Daiwa, Mega Jigs, Dakota Lithium, Scotty Fishing Products, Quantum, Canyon Sports Sales. All these guys, they stuck with us as well this year. Times are tough throughout the industry for everybody, and without even batting an eye, they were there for us. And we want to send out a great big thanks to them. And here's to the rest of the year, and hope it goes as well as it has so far. And we can only hope. So,
Heck yeah, well said.
Yeah, you've
Dr.
got to
Nelson.
do it right to have that many people come out to an event. So
Doing
congratulations,
it right for sure.
Nelson.
Well, there's a few people I'd like to thank. I think I want to start with actually Full Marine, because I bought my new kayak from there a couple months ago, and then the customer service was just amazing. Paul also helped me out with questions I had about the kayak before I bought it. So thanks to Paul. I want to do another shout out to Shelly from Skull Gear. She's just supported me from starting my YouTube channel. And every time I wear this hat, I catch something good. And I haven't made it public yet, but so you guys will be the first to know. Starting today, I'm going to be working. Yeah, starting today, I'm going to be working with X Zone Lures.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Same as Josh Smith,
good, congrats.
Dark Waters podcast. Heck yeah, man.
And if people want to find me on YouTube, it's called Nelly's Fishing Adventures, and on Instagram, Nelly's_fishing.
Very cool. All right,
Awesome,
how about you, Big Money Paul?
Well, I'd like to echo what John said. Basically, to the competitors and the sponsors of Vogue KBT, a big thank you. Basically, I was floored with the response we got. 76 anglers. That is terrific. And if it wasn't for those guys and the sponsors, we wouldn't be where we are today. And we're trying to grow this sport in Ontario, and we're trying to catch up to you guys down in the U.S. That's what we're trying to do. So
You're close.
one
Don't
of
even
these
think you're far away.
Well,
You're
we're getting
beating
there.
a lot
We're
of
getting
people.
there. There'll be a Canadian invasion sometime coming down there and trying to take your money. So because it's worth a hell of a lot more than ours is. So, but also I'd like to thank my wife. She's pretty understanding. Let me go fishing, basically when I can, and traveling to tournaments. And I think the biggest thing, guys, I have to thank are my relief milkers that take care of this place when I'm gone. A lot of people don't realize when I go fishing, my work needs to carry on. So I got to have guys hired to milk the cows, feed the cows, clean them out, fix stuff, et cetera, et cetera. So it's without those guys, none of this is even remotely possible. So,
Yeah.
Those are the guys that make it happen. I like it.
Well, absolutely. So, they're good guys. I can leave without worrying about things, and I know when I come home everything will be good, and we just carry on like it's a normal business again. So,
Cool. Well, thanks again for being on show. We appreciate it, and I look forward to having you on again. It's y'all are doing big things up there, and we really appreciate you.
And you're definitely on the scope now, man. People are going to keep noticing, and now I'm going to be looking in because I want to know how it's going up there.
Yeah, me too.
Got to know what I'm going to be up against when I come up there. You know what I'm saying?
well, you
Sounds
got an
good.
open invite, guys, to come up anytime. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure all three of us will take you guys wherever you want to go, and we'll find you a species that you want to catch, because we have many species up here, so we can pretty well hook you into anything you want.
That's awesome, man. I'm definitely going to keep y'all in mind. I'll be up there for sure.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
have to make that first muskie a Canadian muskie.
Thanks,
We
guys.
can- We can definitely hook you up.
We'll talk to y'all for long. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, guys. Appreciate it.
Take it easy.
Thanks,
Night, guys.
All right. Had our first Canadian show. That's cool.
Oh, dude, I'm just still shocked at how very similar it is. I mean, I know you think about like St. Clair and Erie and stuff like they talked, but it seems like that doesn't even really matter. Like you get a little further north, a little further east, it's the same thing. So that's pretty cool. I don't know what I was expecting to be different. Like, I don't know, but that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I'm still shocked he has that many Vision 110s. I mean, we could have stopped the show right then. My jaw is like, oh,
Mic drop.
Yeah.
80 Vision
Just
110s.
tackle boxes of them, of just one really expensive bait. That's something.
But he said that's his weak technique,
What's his strong technique?
right?
Yeah, I don't know.
We need like a Paddle and Fins Cribs edition or something like that. And we need to like get him back on. I need to see his tackle room. Like,
Yeah, but that's a good idea. We should do that sometime.
I think that would be sick.
That would be cool. All right, so here we go. As always, we have a lot of tournaments that we're going to go over. And, not only do we appreciate the guys being on show tonight, but if you have anything you want to shout out, you want to message us, let us know. And we will.
Real quick, I'm not meaning to cut you off, but they just sent me a message and said that he's called the Jerkbait Jedi. All right, you can get back to it. I'm sorry. That was great.
Yeah, and now how we do it is like every week we have all the live single lake tournaments with 30 or more anglers. If you have a club and they never hit 30 anglers and you're trying to get promote it, pump it up, let us know. Give us shoot either me or Jimmy a message, and we'll make sure we talk about you on the show that week, or what we'll try to highlight you, because that's what this is all about. It really wasn't about necessarily a club, because there was a KBF this week. We want to highlight people who usually don't get to do that. So it's all about the anglers for us. So
yeah, it lets you know we see you, and then you get to see a take of fishing from a different area.
Yep.
So
and maybe it'll help you get sponsors being on a different show where you can say you were on here. I don't know how much I'll help you, but you can try. But
it could hurt you, so
Yeah,
tread lightly.
we shoot us a message and we'll talk about you. So first you had the admit, and if I mess up your names, like always, I'm sorry. Your check's in the mail. Mid-Atlantic kayak bass fishing. They were on Rocky George Reservoir, 33 anglers, 3 fish limit. First was James O'Shaughnessy with 58 and a half. Thomas Linky in second with 57 and a quarter, and David Burt with 51 and 3/4. Second, we had the KBF event on Lake Conway. Day one had 33 anglers, and we're probably going to have them on next week. Alan Sweat with 98 and a quarter, big number. He beat Greg Hurton second by over 5 inches. He had 93 and 3/4, and Charles Hoskin had 87 and 3/4. And if you didn't know, Alan's an absolute hammer. On day two, 23 anglers, and that's kind of been the thing with everybody KBF this year, where they're doing the double tournaments. And I listened to a thing with Chad Hoover talking about tonight. Next year, they're probably going to make it where if you fish one, you have to fish second, because a lot of people are saying, I suck day one. I'm not doing day two. I'm taking it.
I'm out.
Yeah, so that kind of sucks. But Larry Wisnat got 90 and a quarter, Ben Spangler with 98 and a quarter, and Richie McMichael with 85 and 3/4 round out top 3 on day two. Next up, Natural State Kayak Anglers in Missouri. They were on Beaver Lake. That one had 60 anglers. So really the Canadian tournament with Ontario, they were the biggest tournament of the week. So whenever they say they're kind of behind the U.S., they're really not, because they
may have thought they were coming into the season, but this season may show them be like, oh no, never mind, we caught up quick.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. But Ryan, I'm sorry, I don't know your last name. Ryan Piswick with 87 and a half. Craig Wood with 78.5. And third, Tyler Zingerly with 87.25. Last but not least, East Texas Kayak Fishing. I think they have a dang tournament every week, it seems like. Lake Murrayville, 31 anglers. Kevin Matheny with 92.75. Adam Petrone Petrone with 92.25, and Amon Weaver in third with 90 inches flat. So congrats to them. Congratulations to all the winners, and congratulations again to Paul and Nelson. There we go.
Taking it out in Canada. I like it.
Yeah, another great show. We appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching as always. And again, send us any messages if you want us to highlight your club or have something going on. Let us know and we'll shout y'all out.
Yeah. Always looking for some new guests, man.
All right. Thanks, everybody. And we'll see you again next week on The Reel Down. Where are you, PFD?